Welcome to today's deep dive. Today, we're looking at the career of a Japanese racehorse. His name is Cheval Grand.
Yeah, his mother's story is just wild.
It's so strange. We have to talk about his mother, a mare named Howl Was Sweet, because she had this massive, super dedicated cult following in Japan.
But not because she was some superstar runner.
No, not at all. She was born completely without a tail.
But despite that physical limitation, her sheer effort on the track just totally captivated fans. And one of her biggest, most vocal supporters was Kazuhiro Sasaki.
Okay, for you listening, Sasaki is the legendary former Japanese professional baseball player.
Yeah, known as Daimajin.
Exactly, Daimajin. And he loved this tailless mare so much that he made this very public, highly unusual commitment. He basically promised that if he ever became a horse owner, he would buy every single foal she ever produced.
Which is just a crazy thing to promise.
And that brings us to Cheval Grand. He was her fourth foal, born in 2012, and sired by the famous Heart's Cry.
But the twist here is that he didn't inherit any of those quirky genetics.
No, not at all. He had a completely normal tail. He looked perfectly average.
Just a totally normal-looking horse.
Yeah, and honestly, if you read through his early career in the sources, his performance severely degraded after his debut win. Like, he just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty.
He finishes 5th in the Mainichi High, then 8th in the Kyoto Shimbun High. And because of that, he entirely misses out on the classic races.
Brilliant young talent just slams shut. The industry's attention span is incredibly short.
Right, they just move on to the next shiny thing.
Yeah, the focus instantly moves to the next batch of young prodigies.
The sources say Cheval Grand was relegated to allowance races? Is that essentially the minor leagues?
Oh, absolutely. Allowance races are the grueling, unglamorous underbelly of the sport.
Ouch.
Yeah, it is where horses run just to prove they still physically belong on a racetrack.
Wow.
And most horses who fall from classic contention into these allowance tiers, they either stay there forever or they wash out of the sport entirely.
Because it's just too hard.
It's the physical toll, but also the mental frustration of constantly losing. It often just breaks their competitive drive.
But Cheval Grand didn't wash out. That's the crazy part. Instead of his team giving up on him, he just put his head down and ground his way through the autumn allowance levels.
You really did.
He pulls off 3 straight victories. And, it wasn't front page news, but it was exactly enough to push him back into open cup.
Oh, right, he earned his way back.
So by age 4, he finally grinds his way back to the big leagues.
But stepping back into elite territory means facing the monsters who already live there.
Yeah, the competition is just a whole different breed.
Because the hierarchy of horse racing is strictly tiered. He did secure a second-place finish in the Nikki Shinshin High, and he captured his first graded victory at the Hanshin Daisho 10.
And a graded victory is a massive achievement.
It is, but the absolute pinnacle of the sport is a G1 race.
Right. His first attempt at this ultimate tier was the Tennosho Spring.
Which is not an easy race.
No. The sources describe this specific race as just a grueling test of stamina.
Yeah, the Tennosho Spring is run over 3,200 meters.
That's huge.
It is. It requires immense lung capacity and, really strategic pacing. It separates horses who are merely fast from those who possess true deep water stamina.
And Cheval Grand actually enters this race as the 3rd favorite, meaning the betting public was finally respecting his grind.
They saw the work he'd put in?
Exactly. But the race itself turns into this legendary epic duel at the absolute front of the pack between Kern Morotic and this absolute titan of a horse named Kitasan Black.
Kitasan Black was just phenomenal.
And Cheval Grand couldn't break into that duel. He just watches it happen from behind.
Yeah.
And ends up finishing 3rd.
And that race, unfortunately, established an agonizing pattern for his entire career.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Right. He just couldn't penetrate the absolute top tier. Like, he would drop down slightly and win a highly prestigious lower tier race like the Copa Republica Argentina.
Which is great, but...
But in the massive legacy-defining G1s, he repeatedly hit a brick wall.
Yeah, looking at the stats, it's rough. 9th in the Takaruzuka Kinnan, 6th in the Arima Kinnan, and he found himself perpetually trapped in Kitasan Black's shadow.
It's so frustrating to watch.
I mean, he finishes 3rd in the Japan Cup, right behind Kitasan Black. Then at age 5, he gets 2nd in the Tennosho Spring, once again, right behind Kitasan Black.
Always right there.
So I have to ask, if you are constantly losing to the exact same rival over and over again, is it really a rivalry? Or are you just like a secondary character in their story?
See, labeling him a secondary character kind of misses the fundamental reality of top-tier sports.
How so?
Because the attrition rate at the elite level is literally a meat grinder. Horses break down physically under the sheer torque of G1 speeds.
Because they're just pushing themselves so hard.
Right, and they lose their nerve mentally too because the pressure of running in those massive packs is terrifying.
How bad?
So consistently finishing second or third against a generational talent like Cheval Black, that doesn't mean you're a secondary character. It means Cheval Grand is hovering at the absolute elite tier, surviving the meat grinder, while dozens of heavily favored horses are just falling away entirely.
Okay, so it's an endurance race where the strategy isn't having the highest top speed, but having the strongest shock absorbers.
I love that analogy.
Like, while the faster horses are literally vibrating themselves to pieces on the rough terrain, he's just absorbing the impact and staying in the pack.
That mechanism describes it perfectly. When a horse can maintain its physical position at that elite level for years, it doesn't need a miracle to win.
Right.
The team is simply preserving the horse, waiting for a single critical variable to shift in their favor.
And in the Japan Cup, his team finally stops waiting for a variable to shift. They actively change it themselves.
They made a brilliant move here.
They make this highly calculated, bold move by bringing in a world-class Australian jockey, Hugh Bowman.
And swapping a jockey fundamentally alters the tactical communication between the horse and the rider.
Really? Just a different rider changes it that much?
Oh, entirely.
Yeah.
It changes the weight distribution in the saddle, and it entirely shifts the psychological pacing of the race.
Wow.
Yeah, because Cheval Black's dominant strategy was always to run at the absolute front, controlling the psychological pace of the entire field. He dictated the rhythm, and everyone else just, fell into line.
But Bowman didn't fall into line.
No, he didn't.
Cheval Black takes the front, just like always. The field falls into his trap, but Bowman times his move with absolute pinpoint perfection.
It's beautiful to watch.
They surge forward, close the gap, and finally, after years of looking at Cheval Black's tail, they pass him.
They finally did it.
Yeah. Cheval Grand secures his first G1 victory by taking down the ultimate giant of his era.
And the historical weight of defeating the dominant force of the sport is just immense. He absorbed losses for years, studied the pacing of his rival, and then exploited the single opening when the exact right rider presented it.
So you slay the dragon, you take the crown. The logical next step is, like, the era of Cheval Grand, right?
You would think so.
Right. At age 6, Cheval Black retires. The throne is completely empty. But the story takes a wildly unexpected turn right here.
It really does.
Cheval Grand never wins again.
Yeah, it's such an anticlimax. He continues to compete at the highest levels, though. He travels overseas to race internationally at age 7, taking on completely new tracks and immense travel stress.
Which is hard on any horse.
It's incredibly hard, but the victories just evaporate. His final race is a 6th-place finish at the Erie McKinnon, and then he retires.
And if you look at the final stats, the math feels like a glitch in the system. Like, let's break down this 1.1 billion yen paradox.
Okay, let's look at the numbers.
33 career races, 7 total wins, only 3 graded victories, and exactly 1 G1 major championship.
Right.
Yet the sources confirm he earned over 1 billion yen in Japan alone and over 1.1 billion yen worldwide.
It's staggering.
How on earth does a horse with only 1 major championship pull over 1 billion yen? The math feels wrong.
Well, it only feels like a glitch if we assume that finishing first is the only way to generate massive value.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the source material reveals Cheval Grand's true, highly lucrative secret weapon. It wasn't burst speed, it was extreme, unprecedented biological durability.
Durability.
Yeah.
Like beyond just avoiding injury.
Way beyond that. The sources note something staggering. According to those close to a stable, aside from a single scratch early on, he may have gone his entire 33 race career without needing a single therapeutic injection. So to go 33 races without needing that chemical maintenance, it implies his bone density and biomechanical efficiency were absolute anomalies.
Oh, wow. So while the prodigies are sitting in their stalls, recovering from torn ligaments or getting their joints chemically lubricated, Cheval Grand is just loading into the starting gate again.
Always there. Finishing second or third in the world's most lucrative races still pays millions of yen.
Oh, right. You still get paid for placing.
Exactly. He generated a fortune not by crossing the finish line first, but by consistently crossing it while the supposedly better horses were resting in the equine hospital.
That's brilliant.
He basically monetized his own resilience. And that freakish biomechanical durability didn't just pad his bank account. It actually set the stage for a third act that completely defies the standard trajectory of the sport.
Yeah, let's talk about that second career.
So the standard protocol for a successful male racehorse is stud duty. Cheval Grand moved to the breeder's stallion station in Hokkaido. And because of his legendary durability and, very reasonable stud fee, breeders were highly interested. His offspring debuted on the track in 2023.
Which is the classic, quiet, happy ending.
Yeah,
right?
normally.
But in 2025, he officially retires from stud duty.
We're just done.
Right. But in April 2026, at a special event in Shiga Prefecture, Cheval Grand debuts as a show jumping horse.
His ability to compete in show jumping at his age is the ultimate proof of his unique constitution. He completely redefines the timeline of an athlete's usefulness.
Is amazing.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more.